Yeah, you know what time it is. Valhalla Hour, let's go! Kick back, put on your headphones tight. Rob and Matt, bringing fire every night. From the land of 10,000 lakes, we rule the scene. With a crew so fresh, keeping it raw and clean. Minnesota Vikings, kings of the north. We wear our purple heart and let the battle roar forth. Breaking down the game, dissecting the plays. With passion so fierce, we'll set the night ablaze. So give us a follow, hit that like. Share it with your crew, you know we're about to strike. Valhalla Hour podcast, living life bold, where legends are made and stories are told.
This is a Huddle Sports Network broadcast. You can find us on Roku TV, Amazon Fire TV, Facebook, and of course YouTube. Get all your NFL news here first.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Valhalla Hour. I am your host, Sir SoCal. Surprise, I'm back. Unfortunately, the rocket done broke. With me, as always, is Sir Rocket Rob Haskell's, Eric Gurecki, Mr. Southern Skull, and Matthew Liciteri. How are we?
Doing good, doing good.
You know what?
We're good.
Yeah, you warm in Florida.
It's now. Okay.
So we're going to start off with a little fun today. Today is Super Bowl Eve. Let's go around the horn and make our Super Bowl picks, and we're going to start with Eric.
I'm going to go Seattle. I just think their defense is too good, and it's going to be like 23-14.
Okay, Matthew.
Yeah, I want to see the Patriots offense in a non-shit weather game, but I think Seattle's defense is too good. Eric's score is pretty on the nose. Yeah, I think it's going to be like 27-20 type game. Seattle.
Rob.
I feel like both defenses are pretty close. I do give the edge to Seattle. I think that Seattle's offense is significantly better than the Patriots, but also along with this amazing story and everything else, I got to look, and Sam Darnold still pretty much led the league in like interceptions and stuff. I mean, JJ McCarthy most certainly would have if he played all the games. But I mean, New England's defense would be the one that could capitalize on stuff like that if the defense scored. If they just got a turnover and their offense has to go and do stuff and everything, I think it's going to be difficult against Seattle's defense. I think, and the Patriots, before they ever even won their first Super Bowl, I always been kind of like a fan of the Patriots ever since the 1985 because I wanted them to beat the Bears in that Super Bowl. So they've always kind of been one of my favorite AFC teams. And they won like all these Super Bowls. Everybody started hating them because they were the evil empire. And, it's like anybody that went up against the Patriot dynasty was like, Star Wars. It's like you're the rebellion and whatever, But I honestly, my heart tells me I hope New England can pull this off because I don't want to see Darnold. I mean, it's just going to suck for us as Vikings fans if Darnold wins a fucking Super Bowl ring with the Seahawks. But my head tells me it's a low-scoring affair, and I don't think it's going to be a particularly explosive Super Bowl. And I do think the Seahawks are going to win probably 17-14 based on all that reasoning I just gave.
I'm going to go with New England because that means Robert Kraft can pretty much tell the Hall of Fame committee, hey, fuck you for not putting me in this year. Get the 7th ring. Get in next year with a 17-10 victory. That would be the and speaking,
I didn't realize Kraft and Belichick got denied this year. I thought it was just Belichick.
Both.
No, it was both.
Oh, damn. That is a kick in the gonads.
Yeah, it's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm in the minority. I get the reason of leaving him out the first year.
This year's Football Hall of Fame class is stacked. If you guys don't know who it is, Drew Brees, obviously, I mean, how can you say no to that? Larry Fitz out of Minnesota guy, formerly Minnesota. Luke
Holy Angel.
Kuechly, which I did not see that one coming. Adam Vinatieri, Mr. Super Bowl. And then the senior committee, Roger Craig. So no Jim Marshall again.
Yeah.
That's sad. I really thought he would get it this year for sure.
Even in
Yeah.
death, he doesn't get no respect. Is he the Rodney Dangerfield of football?
Pretty much.
Yeah, that one place did a
Craig, though, 'cause Craig had a good career, but was it Hall of Fame worthy?
Apparently, he was the first guy to go over if my mouse would work. First player to have 1,000 yards rushing and receiving in one season.
Yeah, okay. But yeah, he had a stellar career, but is longevity equal to Hall of Fame material, I guess. I love Roger Craig, don't get me wrong. He was a damn hard running, he ran super hard every time he had the ball. And he was a great receiving back, but it just doesn't jump out at me as, that's in my opinion.
So
Yeah.
the awards also did happen. So here are the winners. MVP, Matt Stafford. Truly deserved. There you go. Coach of the Year, Mike Vrabel. I honestly had the Jaguars coach pegged for that one. Assistant Coach of the Year, Josh McDaniels. Offensive Player of the Year, JSN. Defensive Player of the Year, this one was pretty much a shoo-in, Myles Garrett after the record. Offensive Rookie of the Year, Territorial McMillan out of Carolina. Defensive Rookie of the Year, Carson Schweisinger. I'm probably saying that name incorrectly. Comeback Player of the Year, Christian McCaffrey.
He can win that every other year, can he?
Huh?
Can McCaffrey win that every other year?
I think so. Protector of the Year, Joe Tooney.
Who was that? Sorry.
Joe Tooney out of Chicago, Protector of the Year. Rookie of the Year, Tyler Shue out of New Orleans. The Walter Payton Man of the Year is Bobby Wagner.
I think he got that because he's about to retire.
Yeah.
Salute to service. Salute to service with CMC again. There's just a lot of weird awards, but Myles Garrett gets another award for sack leader. The next gen moment of the year, the Chicago Bears overtime touchdown over Green Bay. Oh, jeez.
Was this the first year of the Protector of the Year award?
I've not heard it, so it might have been.
I knew that I had heard rumblings. I thought before the season that they were going to add that, which I like. The offensive line doesn't get enough respect, and I think they need to add one for like interior defensive player too. I think that's just those guys are the bread and butter. Those are the backbone of any team, and they just get shit on all the time.
Well, what about like a special teams award? There should be something for that.
He had one. I thought Steve Tasker won it, but maybe that was just his Pro Bowl things.
Yeah, I thought Special Teams Player of the Year was the thing. I guess maybe I'm tripping on that.
Maybe it's just for the month.
Yeah,
That's fair. Fair.
but yeah, so that all went down. I did get a preview of one of the Super Bowl commercials, and it's too damn funny.
Yeah, I'm trying to go spoiler-free. Is that the Jurassic Park one?
No, there was one. It said Will Shatner, but they didn't have the ner in it, so it was Will Shat, and then it's like Will Shat on the car.
No, that's funny.
It's for like Raisin Bran or some weird garbage, but I'm like, oh my
Fiber.
god.
Nothing
Oh.
beats the old like Budweiser and Bud Light commercials. The funniest thing I've ever seen was the one where, they're sitting in a horse-drawn Christmas sled, and the guy lights a candle on a cupcake or the cake and everything and passes it to his woman and everything, and she's holding it. All of a sudden the horse's tail flips up. and they're just burnt to toast. I mean, back then stuff like that was hilarious and people loved it. And now it's either stupid or it doesn't make any sense at all. I miss that stuff.
I think a lot of the Budweiser and even Coors commercials changed a lot when, Budweiser is not owned by a European company, but Coors is owned by a Canadian company. They just don't see that they're not as American. How do I put it? They're not as they don't see things the way they used to, I guess, when they were American owned companies, and they're just so big. They're just you can't pick up a beer without it being owned by Anheuser-Busch anymore. It's just freaking crazy.
Well, that's why I like to stick with local craft breweries as much as possible, except then you spend a lot of money. So when I do drink cheap beer 99% of the time, it's something that Anheuser owns one way or another. But we have a lot of good local craft breweries. I almost opened up a brewery with a buddy of mine that had retired out of the military in 2013. We just could never get the building and whatever. And we had a short time frame to get this launched. And then the Polk County Water Reclamation Act wants a grease trap in a brewery. It's like, unless you really, really, really do something wrong, there isn't anything other than water with some salt in it going down the drain. All of your waste is dry. It goes out in the dumpster because it's your hops and it's your mash and that kind of stuff. There is no grease in beer and everything. But whoever. And then I found out that 3 of the people that's on the council for the wastewater and all that stuff down in Polk County are relatives of people that own the companies that put the grease traps in at $30,000 a piece.
Oh, no, I don't believe that one bit.
Yeah, it's funny how that works, isn't it? So anyways, I had this idea with my buddy Lamont. We were ready to launch Liberty's Forge Brewing, and we had 8 flagships, including one IPA at the time, because IPAs weren't super popular in 2013. This is 13 years ago. But we had 8 flagships, and we had an English ESB, which took forever just because the strike batch water, you had to get special salts that were imported from England to get the strike batch of water correct first in order to make everything else when you start the brewing process correct. And we had an account to get all the hops and everything and all the mash. We brewed a lot of different awesome varieties. And granted, a lot of them were like, Hefeweizens and blonde ales and, things that I really like. And it's just unfortunate we were never able to get a location in the town of Polk City when we wanted to get this thing launched. And now, that was about a year-long window we had. We could never get into a spot because every building would have required, not just the lease of the building, but that stupid grease trap for $30,000, another 50 in upgrades because nothing, was set up correctly or whatever. And it just became something as to where we just would get together on Lamont's farm and just brew on Saturdays off the back porch. And 2 weeks later, your beer's ready coming out of the fermenters. We'd keg it and take a glass and say cheers. But I love local, supporting local. I like my coffee. It's not local. It comes from Florida, but it's Stocking Mill Roasters. Which I would highly encourage you guys to try that. It's a veteran-owned company. The owner was in Iraq at the same time as myself and everything. In fact, he was a sniper. You can buy it online. I used to have a thing for it. It must not be in here anymore. But
Yeah, I actually have. I'll pull it up.
There you go. Yeah. So, and that's in Daytona Beach, Eric. I usually get the 2-pound bags or whatever. Like the one I'm drinking right now is called Midnight Run. Stocking Mill, all of their coffee brands is named after some type of historical, like Revolutionary War event, or after a person. So Midnight Run is obviously about Paul Revere's Midnight Run to warn everybody that the British are coming. And it's a medium dark roast, and it's one of their best coffees ever, and it's pretty much exclusively what I buy anymore. But I like supporting the homies when they launch a business. I know there's 1,000 Vet Bro t-shirt companies and Vet Bro podcasts and everything else, but you got to support your homies. I like doing that, except for when money's low, and then I'll just cheap ass it and go get PBR at the gas station, or whatever.
Right.
No, that's cool. Anywho, that was an interesting segue. I love this during the off season that we can bring up and talk about a few other things and have nice segues to get them slid in there. But you guys want to discuss all of these coaching, because we did end up bringing on some coaches and made some changes. I don't know if you got them things downloaded, Matthew, but
yeah, the first one I want to bring up is we have hired somebody temporarily to hire Brzezinski. Longtime salary cap expert Matt Thomas from the Seahawks is going to be helping out for the next few months. One hunch I do have, and I don't know if you guys agree with this, but I think they're testing Brzezinski out to maybe make him the GM. Do you guys think that's a valid theory?
That seems to be the case, yeah.
Yeah. Would it surprise me? No.
It's really weird because I don't know if I really hear a lot of rumblings about they really, really want a football guy.
Right.
Which makes sense. I hadn't heard it, but somebody posted it in our little chat about Chris Spielman. I think the Wilfs are going to backpedal because of hiring an analytics guy. So I don't know if Brzezinski is right as a GM, but stranger things have happened.
Yeah,
you said Chris Spielman, brother of Slick Rick Spielman.
Yes.
Oh God.
He was actually, wasn't he like assistant GM for Detroit for a while?
Yes.
And so that would be an interesting thought. I hadn't heard that. Like I said, somebody posted that in our podcast chat. So that's very interesting to me to see that name pop up. I hadn't heard anything about it, but I think that may be the route they want to go.
So here is our first hire or coaching move. Keith Carter. He is. I'm gonna have to take the banner down really quick.
Promoted.
Keith Carter, he is going to be our new offensive line coach. Yeah,
he was wasn't he assistant line coach?
Yes.
Yeah.
Gerald Alexander's coming as to be our defensive passing game and defensive backs coordinator.
Because we lost Jones.
Yeah.
Which
this one?
Go ahead.
This one I'm excited for because I've heard good things about Alexander. Trying to get everything lined up. Ryan Nielsen's coming to be our defensive running game coordinator. We need help there.
I feel like we interviewed him when we hired Flores. That name sounds really familiar.
It is. That's one of the better hires right there, because even if we aren't able to get a 340-pound, 6'5" nose tackle, Nielsen would be the guy that could take what we have and improve us being able to stop the run up the middle, I think.
Yeah. And then Frank Smith, our assistant head coach, I don't know anything about him.
absolutely. The more I find out about him, the more I am absolutely in love with this hire.
Mhm.
He was a tight ends coach, offensive line coach, running game coordinator. For multiple teams. Last he was OC for I think the Dolphins, but I really, really think he as giving him the assistant head coach title, he will be in O'Connell's ear about not abandoning the running game too soon. I think a lot of times in the past couple of years we have just given up on the running game way too soon, and or not utilized it properly. And I think with his expertise of coaching tight ends, O-line, being an offensive line coach, offensive coordinator, he will have a little bit of credibility to tell O'Connell, give it to the damn backs one more time, or let's try to push it outside instead of in the middle. So I really, the more I read about him, the more I find out about his past, the more I really, really love this hire.
Yeah, and it looks like Keith Carter is going to be our O-line guy. I'm glad we got rid of our offensive line guy. I'm really glad.
Yeah, and I think Eric's got a great point because like we were also fed up with Zimmer. I remember the last year that Zimmer was the coach, and we played the Cowboys, and all the Cowboys fans came up and tailgated with us at Lot 53, and then two of them that happened to be in PFUFA, the Pro Football Ultimate Fan Association, ended up sitting right behind me. In fact, Lloyd Wheeler was one of them. OG Cowboys fan, well known throughout all the fan bases and everything, travels well. And it got so comical in the second half. I called Zimmer's play calling. I said, well, he's going to run Dalvin Cook left. Yep. No, 2 yards. Yep. He's going to run Dalvin Cook right. Yep. But he's going to run Dalvin Cook up the middle. Yep. Yep. And now we're going to punt. And it kept on going like that. And we took a 18-yard sack on the one pass play. And I'm like, watch this. We need 20 yards. They're going to throw a fucking 3-yard screen pass and everything. It got blown up way in the back. It was only on second down. Third down comes. I said, they're like, well, and Lloyd sitting behind me and is like, we're going to get burnt on this one and everything. Look what our defensive backs aren't doing. I turn right around and it's like super quiet, because we're on offense. And I'm just mad. And I'm like, it don't freaking matter because even though we need 18 yards, Zimmer's going to run Cook up the middle for 2. And that, you know what? It's exactly what happened. The entire section died laughing. As bad as Zimmer was with run, maybe pass or punt, O'Connell, he'll run. And like, if you don't get a first down, these guys have been getting 4, 5, 6 yards, running on first down, but all of a sudden here comes 3 passing plays. We have 2 incompletions and, one that gets stopped short of the line of gain, and, he gives up on it. So that's very valid that he needs somebody to keep him centered and have perspective on this.
So let's see if you can name who this former player, what position he is for the Vikings now, what coaching position?
I could have sworn he was a quarterback for the Lions.
Charlie Fry?
Yeah.
He was a quarterback for the Browns, drafted by the Browns.
I was going to say, I thought it was Browns. Yeah, I was going to say Browns. But
He was a backup for the Lions one year, but I could be wrong.
Charlie Fry is now our defensive assistant. So we have 2 former Browns quarterbacks on roster. And you guys know who the other one is, right?
You can't label Josh McCown to the Browns because he played for like 14 other teams too.
Right.
He was drafted by the Browns, so we have 2 former Browns. Are we becoming the Minnesota Browns?
Don't even put me, Ricky Bobby.
My thing with the assistant head coach being an offensive guy and like saying that he's going to help O'Connell call plays is what does that leave Wes Phillips? Because now you have 3 people that are allegedly going to be doing play calling. Like,
I think
Phillips ever done anyways?
I think the only thing Wes Phillips does is run practice. I really do. I don't know what he does.
Yeah. Nobody knows what Wes Phillips does. We have an offensive coordinator. Nobody knows what he does.
I mean,
Right.
other than, he's a player guy, I guess, but
Yeah.
yeah, Matthew, you're right. What position does that put him in as far as what is he legitly doing? Like, why are we doing that?
Well, it's just office space. Like, what would you say you do here?
Like,
You're getting paid.
or 15 minutes late, my computer for an hour or so. Yeah, you're right. I don't. That's weird, but it also shows. I think, and this is where I thought you were going to go, Matthew. Is it shows the confidence that they're going to give Flores to just run the defense.
Yeah.
Which
is, I mean, that's how it should be. Yeah.
Exactly.
So Sam, thanks for commenting. This is actually good. If you guys can't read this, it says, I would like everybody's opinion on what a new weekly media segment to do things. 1, acknowledge an offensive lineman of the week. 2, highlight the best downfield block of the game. Why do you think the Vikings have fought this and Fox 9 Sports has fought this for 7 seasons? Finally, do you believe it would have an impact on the game in the season? So like on this podcast, Sam, we do acknowledge Darisaw and O'Neal. And I mean, mainly because when good things happen, it's kind of rare lately and everything. So when we get good play out of a guard, we make a big deal out of it. And then, if Addison or Jefferson or Hawkinson has a key block downfield that allows, a drive that ends up being a game-winning thing, I really do think that needs to be acknowledged. And I don't know, because I don't get Fox 9 because I'm in Iowa, Sam, and I don't know what they do. But yeah, I think if it's known that it's a thing, even if it's amongst local media or just the Vikings fan club, that there's people saying, yeah, this is my top offensive line guy of the week, or yes, this guy is, the A for effort player, or whatever, for this downfield block or whatever. It could provide extra motivation for those guys, especially if the game ain't going good and they're trailing, to play harder. But then again, we don't see everything. You can't even see everything when you're sitting in section 140 in the stadium, to know it looks like guys might give up on plays here or there instead of following through. But I also think it's a calculated risk, especially with some of these wide receivers, because as many speedster burners that we have, if they think that they're number 4 on the read progressions, they might not be out there every time because they know that their number is getting called on the next play or something. I'm not saying they're saving their energy, but it's so complex anymore, the way they run offenses. I wouldn't put that out of the realm of possibilities. When you see defensive backs giving up on stuff, that's what pisses me off.
Yeah.
I mean, we could always go back to the Dalton Reisner karate kick when he pushed the pile, was it like 3 years ago? If I think it was the first year we had him, where he was like all fucking air ninja kick, karate kick thing, like all excited. I mean, that's what you want to see out of your offensive linemen when they're making blocks 15, 20 yards down the field. Like, hell yeah, I made sure we got the first down type of thing,
Right.
And I think we do. We actually, I think we've seen it quite a bit the past season, and maybe it's something that should be emphasized more, is Jefferson blocking on a lot of downfield plays. Addison downfield blocking, and Jefferson actually did. There was a lot of times I saw him make plays. I think it was even on one of McCarthy's touchdown runs. The block that allowed him to get it was made by Jefferson, and it's like that needs to be emphasized. That the fact that he may barely got his 1,000 yards, but he put effort forth to make sure the team was putting points on the board.
Yeah, I really don't watch Fox 9 or any local news, just because I don't choose to. I honestly don't think any local would have that much of a knowledge. The only one that I really would think was who was the guy on WCCO, the sports writer, who was his name?
Mark Rosen?
Yeah, I think he would be the only one on any of the local channels who would have any sort of football knowledge. Honestly, since WCCO really doesn't cover the Vikings unless we're playing like an AFC team or we're designated a CBS game, I don't see them doing that.
Yeah.
But like the media should always, you think, be involved in hyping up anything they do. But what's his name? Care 11 guy, Randy Shaver. And
Shaver.
The second one, Eric something. They used to be really good at emphasizing the high school kids. They always had really good like weekly segments on emphasizing the high school kids. So it wouldn't be hard to switch over to something as an offensive. But where it really would pay off is like a Good Morning Football type. They have like the running. What's the one? The Scepter. The runs that Kyle does. Anyway, but if they did like Good Morning Football did something a little on the national level, I think they would. And I think they started doing like offensive line of the week and stuff like that too on some of these shows. So I think it shows the importance, but I don't think enough people. It's hard to critique offensive line if you haven't studied it, because a guy might get beat, but it may not be his assignment to block that linebacker or that nose tackle. He may be trying to pull and get caught up in all the action. So if you don't understand how offensive line works, it's easy to blame a guy for missing a block when it wasn't his guy to block in the first place.
Yeah.
And especially with ours, like back when Matt Burke was our center and we had that era of players, we pulled our center more than any other team in the league during the Matt Burke era with that offensive line. And it wasn't even close. It's like we're doing it at a 75, 80, 85% rate. The rest of the league is like 40. It was that much of a difference. And that made it really difficult to tell, who's doing what wrong, or if that's designed and it just was a play breakdown,
Well,
go ahead.
I said the phrasing of the question made it seem like if he was wondering if those type of segments would have like an impact on the player's game, like they'd have extra motivation to play hard because Fox 9 is highlighting offensive play. I don't think that they care about local news. If it was like an actual NFL honor and it gave them a bonus in their paycheck, I feel like it'd give them a little more motivation. But I don't think they're sitting there on like 9 o'clock on a Saturday morning going like, oh man, I hope Fox liked my play last week.
Right, yeah, that's a good point. If it was like, if you made Fox 9 News Offensive Player of the Week 6 times in the season, you get $1 million bonus, then yeah.
Right.
It would have to be something along those lines. Yeah, you're right. Completely right.
Yeah. So we have a developing story. And this has been developing for a few days now. According to Diana Rossini of The Athletic, a league source has expressed their belief that Kirk Cousins will be returning to Minnesota.
She does not like the Vikings at all. At all.
Yeah.
Go back. There's a video of her interviewing during training camp last year, and you can just tell the players are uncomfortable talking to her. Like she is not a fan of the Vikings whatsoever. It is really crazy. So, I
think Bridges got burnt, didn't they, Eric?
Something happened there. I don't know what happened, but she is not liked by the Vikings organization as far as players and coaches go at all.
Yeah, the one between her and KOC was noticeably awkward.
That's the one. Yes, that was the one. I think it was where it was just weird.
Yeah. But as far as that goes, like, it's wild how 2 years ago, I guess I can only speak for myself, but I was happy to see Kirk move on. He was getting paid too much, and I feel like it was just, kind of time to move on. But then seeing what we had at quarterback last year, I would 100% take Kirk Cousins back on this team next year for like $10 million. Because he showed at ATL that he can still sling it. He's not, I guess, like, obviously the future of what this offense needs, but my God, we're sitting here talking about capable backups like fucking Mac Jones again, or like Anthony Richardson is apparently a name that's being floated, which pisses me off. Above any of them, I would 100% take Kirk Cousins back on this team.
Yeah, I made an argument the other day. I think it all depends on what, how they see the future of JJ McCarthy. If you want to give him competition, you bring in a Mac Jones or someone like that. If you want him to sit on the bench for a year, you bring in a Kirk Cousins. If you want him to have a capable backup that could win 3 out of 4 games, you bring in a Jimmy Garoppolo.
Right.
That seems like it depends on what they expect from JJ McCarthy of what kind of quarterback they want to bring in the offseason. I don't. That's just kind of my take on things. Is you got to look at what you want from him as far as what you want to bring in to be around him. Because we're looking at if you pick up his 5th-year option, this season's the halfway point. If you don't, we've passed the halfway point on his future on a rookie contract.
Yeah.
And, that weighs heavy is what you want to do with his future. And, if you want to give him the reins to run into year 3, 4, and 5 and pick up that 5th-year option, then you bring in a Garoppolo or a Jones to back him up or push him. But if you want him to develop for a year and then hopefully he picks it up in 4 and you can take that 5th-year option, then you go with the Cousins. So it really, to me, is a where JJ sits is what kind of quarterback we bring in. And I think we'll find out in, 3 weeks when the league season starts?
Yeah. Well, just kind of connecting the dots, like we had the report come out that said that like people in the front office didn't love drafting McCarthy. KOC didn't think that even going into year 2 that he was quite ready to be the starter, and that's why they were pushing on bringing in a veteran. You got Aaron Jones with his comments this last week saying we kind of wish we still had Sam Darnold. You got Jefferson coming out this last week and being like, yeah, we kind of wish we still had Sam Darnold, and like it doesn't matter who my quarterback is, but like I have to make McCarthy be good. Like it just no one seems to have a ton of confidence. And then this last week, the report came out saying that people in the front office think that he can be good, but they're concerned with his injuries. They don't think he can stay healthy. So it seems like there's way more negative than good coming out about McCarthy's future with the team. So yeah, I think you're right. I think if we bring in Kirk, then it shows like, okay, they're obviously planning on sticking with him and they're going to see what they have in year 4. But I don't know, man. It doesn't seem like the team has the most confidence, whether it be skill related or just, again, being able to stay healthy and him being the future.
Am I the only one that feels like if we don't have a very viable plan to win a Super Bowl within the next year to 2 at the most, that we're going to fucking have this team imploded or dismantled and have to start over from scratch on a real no shit rebuild? Because that part of me is thinking we do need to do some kind of a blockbuster trade for a Burrow type of guy, or we need to get, as much as I don't like him, Dak Prescott would still be worlds better than what we have right now.
Yeah, he'd be fantastic on this team.
He would actually do really, really well on this team. But then again, a lot of me thinks that that's exactly not what they're going to do. They're going to get a Mac Jones or something like that. I mean, we really had a real streak of luck there with Darnold, but the writing was kind of on the wall that he just was always set up for failure in bad organizations. And the fact that he's had 2 good runs back to back with 2 good organizations, I just feel like they're going to get some dude. We may make the playoffs, we may not, and our window's done, and we're going to lose everybody.
Yeah, I mean, we should, like, if we don't make a playoff push this next year, if we do bring in a better quarterback, we should blow it up. But that's the thing, is we sit here all the time and talk about how that's not what the Wilfs do. The Wilfs are not capable of putting out a roster that's going to be completely blown up and win 3 games and then build. They're going to go through free agency. They're going to do what they have to do to put out a semi-decent team, which is great if you're looking for entertainment. You want to see your team win 9 or 10 games a year. But again, yeah, if we're talking about legitimately being contenders, they'll never do what's ugly to make our team build and develop into a contending team. Whether that be giving up the future for a Burrow type, which people would be pissed about, or be not tanking, but blowing up the fucking roster, only winning 3 games and getting high draft picks and building up through high draft picks. Like, I don't know. They'll just always do what's good enough to put out a playoff team. So, yeah, I think if we have a Mac Jones, he's better than what we had last year. He could have got us that 10th win and got us to the playoffs. Probably.
Yeah.
But again, is that a contending quarterback? No.
Well, and like me personally, I don't want Kirk Cousins on the team anymore, but I would have taken him in a heartbeat for any single game that we had last year.
100%.
It's just that it gets back to that whole aspect of we have to make a serious push at the NFC Championship with the Super Bowl in mind, and Kirk Cousins is not going to get us there.
Yeah. But thinking about us, like, we were looking at people like Aaron Rodgers last year going like, hey, that'd be fun to have him for a year. I feel like Kirk Cousins had as good a year as Aaron Rodgers did. So if he wants to come here for $8 or $10 million just to say fuck it for one more year with Jefferson and Addison and hopefully an improved O-line and a top 10 Flores defense, that should be good enough to win a playoff game, which would save KOC's job for another year or two.
Yeah. It just, I mean, I can see the reasoning with the Darnold thing, because who the hell wins 14 games and goes one and done?
Right.
Oh, I see. That's, and it's like, I mean, Darnold was kind of, and I mean, he had a really bad game to close the season out against the Lions. The Lions win the division, and then, turns around and has another stinker in the playoff game versus the Rams, but our O-line collapsed. I think he got sacked about at least 8 times in that game. That was terrible.
I think it was 9. But you look at 2 last year, or I don't know how the year with Sam anyway. We lost to 2 teams. That was it.
Yeah.
We lost to Detroit twice and the Rams twice. Now, is that coaching against those 2 particular teams, or Sam just couldn't beat those 2 teams? Or what the deal was, I don't know, but we lost to 2, and I think Aaron Jones said that in that interview. We lost to 2 teams. That was it, all season.
Yes.
I mean, crap, we lost to the Lions twice, and the Rams once in regular season, and we should have beat the Rams in the first game, but that stupid face mask.
No face mask, right.
That was horseshit.
They're still showing replays of that stuff.
Oh yeah, but where how do you look at that season of did the Lions expose what we did, our offensive scheme, and the Rams were the only one to pick up on it?
Well, the Rams gave Sam Darnold fits this year. Their first regular season matchup, Darnold threw 4 picks and got crushed. Like,
yeah.
It's
just weird how they had a number last season. They had his number for 1 game this season. Like, I don't know how to judge how that all went. It's really weird.
Yeah. Yeah. So we'll see what he does in the biggest game of his career.
Just Sam has been watching, and just he had that comment. I put it up, and he said, I could live with Rodgers. What if that is it? What if they give him? I honestly think he's going to retire. But if he doesn't, he wants to come. Give her one more college. It's not even college try. I can't even use one more try. Throw the purple on for a year, and it's like, all right, fuckers, Super Bowl or bust. Would you be very, very nervous about that move, or if he just isn't crazy on his demands money wise, give it a shot? I mean, what do you think? There's times where he did not look bad at all again with Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I was excited about it. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
No, I was going to say, I just don't know how I feel about that whole situation, because the second year with the Jets, he looked awful, but every quarterback looks awful with the Jets. He looked decent at times with Pittsburgh. I guess where it's another year. I don't know where to sit with that one.
Yeah. My 2 things is like, one, between him and Kirk knows KOC's offense already, so you wouldn't have to worry about the adjustment. It'd just be plug and play and he'd be ready to go. And I was excited about Rodgers last year because I felt like there was just like a bitterness on the Jets franchise as a whole, and that's why he wasn't happy there. But even last year, like anytime he'd miss a receiver, it was the old Rodgers where he'd go on a press conference and be like, my receivers are letting me down. They're not making the plays. He never took accountability. And this team just does not play that shit. Like even if we have bad quarterbacking, we at least have class quarterbacking. And I don't want someone coming in here throwing the whole rest of the team under the bus when they have subpar play. Like no, take accountability.
But you look, I mean, Rodgers, I think, has the presence of mind to know that when your receiving group is Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, Jalen Naylor, and TJ Hawkinson, I don't think he's got the room to go out there. Oh, my skill position players are letting me down. That'd be
right.
He would get dragged like a motherfucker with that lineup that we have.
Right.
Put the blame on them. You know,
like if you're not happy with this, what the fuck do you want? Like,
yeah, I mean, you couldn't build a better receiving core for somebody and expect them to not flourish. I mean, again, to me, it all goes down to how we adapt the play calling as well. You know, we just can't throw 30-yard bombs every fucking time we're in first and 10 or in 12. You know, it just
Well, I think that's part of why I felt so let down with JJ is because I went into the season thinking no matter how rusty or awful or just inexperienced he looks, how bad can it be when you have Jefferson, Addison, Naylor, Hawkinson, and Aaron Jones sitting there? And then I'm watching, and it's a 3-foot pass, screen pass, and he misses it by fucking 10 yards to the left. I'm like, okay, that answered my question.
Right.
Like, wait.
I think Rodgers is going to stay in Pittsburgh just because they're bringing McCarthy.
Yeah, I don't buy it. I don't think Rodgers has any desire to play with McCarthy. They had a huge falling out.
But they hire against coach.
Is what?
Didn't we just hire a former Vikings coach? Not one that was on the team last year, but the year before.
I don't know.
I don't know.
I'm not sure.
I mean, the only one of significance is losing Durante Jones, but I'm trying to think of his name. Which I seen an article talking about Durante Jones having a lot of interest in Eric Wilson and Ivan Pace and Thomas. What's his name?
Tavares Thomas.
He can have Pace, but he better leave Wilson alone.
But I saw he had that link. He could be after. Those are like the 3 big targets on the Vikings that Washington could go after just because of the ties to the Vikings.
Oh.
Since we have a few minutes, what do you think was the story with Ivan Pace this last year? Just was it the worst sophomore slump we've seen in a long time, and he bounces back, or?
I mean, he was always undersized for his position, so I guess like with a full season of tape, teams were able to figure out how to exploit his lack of size. Like his biggest commodity on this team was his ability to run stuff because even though he was small, he had really good anchor on his hits. But he was always a liability in coverage. I think he graded like 36 his rookie season in coverage grade.
Yeah.
But like he was good on the line and he was good at wrapping up tackles. But now he's just getting bullied by big receivers. He's getting bullied by big running backs. He's getting healthy bench.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seemed like a shift in the defense. Something about maybe I don't know what it was. He was always a solid tackler, and then all of a sudden through the first 6 weeks, he's 25, 22% missed tackle rate, and like what the fuck happened? Like I don't understand. It just seemed really weird that all of a sudden he couldn't wrap up people. And his size was his advantage because he would sneak through holes and gaps behind blockers. And, Matt, you may be right. Teams picked up on that and learned not to get out ahead too fast because he was amazing at sneaking through, like right behind a blocker and before another blocker could get there. He would shoot that gap really fast and make a tackle. And I don't know if that's what it was to upset his play or what, but he was phenomenal that one year. And, last year was just atrocious.
Yeah.
Man.
And Matthew, I will tell you one thing. As much as Eric Wilson has been a source of irritation for me in past years and everything, when we brought him back this last season, I'm perfectly happy with Cashman and Wilson being the two inside linebackers. And I really do hope that actually kind of stays if that's how things are going to work.
Yeah. Agreed.
Yeah, I just don't know what kind of what Wilson's going to want in free agency, as far as he had a phenomenal season, but he's also 32. And this linebacker draft class is not awful, but it's not great. But there's some good depth in there. I mean, you're talking 2 linebackers from Texas Tech, 1 from Cincinnati. The kid from Ohio State will probably go in the first round.
Yeah.
There's some decent young prospects coming out of the draft that may drive his value down, which may work to our value or to our advantage. So to me, it's all what Eric Wilson thinks he can get, or is he happy with where he's at and would want to take less to stay here, or instead of taking a risk on going somewhere else? Because I just saw an article today that DJ Wanham is probably going to be a cap cut by Carolina because his age and their cap problems. So, you're looking at linebackers maybe not as needed as they may expect. So hopefully the market for him isn't huge and he comes back for another season.
Yeah, I don't see anybody overpaying for linebackers. I mean, there's. Go ahead.
One of the mock drafts that are now starting to come out, some guy from ESPN says we're going to pick up Emmanuel McNeil-Warren, a safety.
It seems like a bit of a reach at 18, but
he is a reach at 18. But I've seen 3 or 4 mocks with him going to us at 18. It's a reach, but he's a stud. He is and I think a lot of that depends on what Harry does. Harry really hasn't been vocal about his future. He kind of hinted at retirement, but he really hasn't come out and said, "I'm retiring." Not right. As CJ Ham made it very clear that was his last game. Harry just kind of hadn't. He took the ovation. People are assuming he's going to, but I think it depends on that. And there's some good free agent safeties too. So, but yeah, he's a stud. If you haven't seen his stuff, look him up on YouTube.
That's one of those picks, though. Where it's like, if that is.
Harry owes nothing to anybody. I mean, he's given more to us as fans and more to the Vikings and organization than almost any player that we've ever had walk through the doors. The selfish part of me wants one more year from him, but if he does announce his retirement, he unlike Belichick and Robert Kraft, it better be a first ballot hole.
Right.
Yeah, he's one of those players that deserves the right to go to the head coach and GM and be like, "Hey, so what are you doing at quarterback? Like, if you fucking do something to bring somebody in here to give this somebody a team, like, I'll come back one more year. If you're rolling with McCarthy, then it's just been real, but I'm out of here. Like, I'm not going through another 8 or 9 win season."
And I honestly think that's exactly what's happening right now, too, Matthew. I think you're spot on that.
He has every right, Matthew. You're right. He has more than any other player probably on any team in the NFL has the right to go to management and say, "What the fuck is going on in the future?"
Yeah.
He has earned that, and he deserves that too, though. He really does.
Yeah. And it's wild there's a chunk of Packer fans that think that Harrison Smith's not even a Hall of Famer.
That's just Packer hate, I'm telling you. That no reasonable-minded person could sit there and look at Harrison Smith and, say, yeah, this guy's not a Hall of Famer. I mean, Troy Polamalu was a first ballot Hall of Famer, and Harrison Smith has exceeded him on almost every statistical category there is, except for like 1 or 2.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah, their only arguments are like, well, look at the lack of all pros. Well, yeah, Minnesota players always get looked over. Daniil Hunter was the youngest player to reach 50 sacks, and he got one third team all pro vote his entire Viking career over what, 5 seasons? One
Yeah.
third team vote. And the dude is racking up 12 to 14 sacks a season. Like the anti-Viking bias, like people can sit there and say it's bullshit, but we've had so many. We were just talking about Jim Marshall, the fact that he's still not in the fucking Hall of Fame because he ran the wrong way on one play. Like, so if anything's going to keep him out, it might be that, but I don't think it'll even keep him out. Maybe out of the first ballot, but he's absolutely going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Yeah. I mean, I think you nailed that in the head right there. But
what's it going to be like if Diggs wins a ring tomorrow?
Oh God,
probably insufferable on the part of him.
I mean, it's hard not to cheer for the Patriots because of so many ex-Vikings. But the one on that team that makes me not want them to win is Diggs. I mean,
yeah.
I mean, you have what, 5 or 6 different Vikings that are either on the team, on the practice squad, on our for the Patriots. That hell yeah, but it's like, God, Diggs, really, of all people, why Stephon? Really?
Garrett Bradbury might be a Super Bowl winning center.
Right? Hey, what's his name?
I know.
Christian Smith might be a Super Bowl winning linebacker. Super Bowl winning defensive tackle. Vadarian Lowe, a Super Bowl winning offensive tackle. I mean, the list goes on and on of Vikings that have contributed to that. Vadarian Lowe was a starting tackle for like 4 weeks when their starting left tackle got hurt. Christian Ellis is their starting inside linebacker. I mean, Tyrese Tonga has even played fullback for them. I mean, you look at just the scope of players on that team and you just go, Jesus, what were we doing? Like, why did we got to make it with the Patriots, you know? And it might have been just experience level and needing the right coaching or whatever, but man, you know, it's just
And in past years, we've all been fans of Tyrese Tonga on this show. I mean, we used to talk about him quite a bit too. I mean, it's just
yeah.
It's always difficult when you're sitting here and you're watching all your former players and a lot of them you used to like on somebody playing other team playing in the Super Bowl, and then the ones that you didn't like and you were glad to see him go finally turn around and start doing good, and then you realize that it's probably because our own offensive line coach was ass. That just irritates you more, you know.
Yeah. So we're almost out of time. I'm going to go around the horn and final thoughts. Rob.
I'm just looking forward to interesting game, and I don't mind if it's a defensive slug out. I actually like that kind of football. So I'll maintain what I'm saying. Seahawks 17, Patriots 14.
All right, Eric.
Yeah, I mean, let's I mean, it's one of those games where we don't have a dog in the fight, so let's hope for a good game. And Rob's right. I like a good defensive battle. So let's figure out. I think it's going to be low scoring, and it's going to be maybe a couple turnovers by each team, and that'll be the exciting part. Will be the turnovers, I think. But you know, and I'm just prepped. We got a month to go till free agency, so I think we'll see stuff happening with the Vikings real soon.
Yeah.
Right. Matthew.
Yeah, I want to see Ginger Jesus hoist the trophy tomorrow. He's a likable guy, and he's just like the hoisting after the Packer win last year, like how the team rallied around him. Like, I want to see him go from rags to riches really bad. So I hope he has a good game. I hope he pulls it off. Like, he deserves it. He's a class act.
Yeah. Well, thank you very much for joining, everybody. Have a great Super Bowl. Eat lots of good stuff. Enjoy the commercials. Skull.
Yeah, yo, it's game time, ain't no messing around. Huddle Sports Network, the best in town. From NFL rumors to the latest trends, we got all your sports, just tune in, my friends. Catch us on Roku, Fire Stick, take your pick. Facebook.